Hey everybody, I'm Delicia here with another very exciting box unveiling from Pravada Cigar Club. And true to form, I'm waiting for all of you so we can open it together and see what's inside. Before I do that, I just wanted to bring attention to what I'm smoking because I know that's always a question that's asked. I'm actually smoking the exclusive Room 101 that was done for Pravada Cigar Club. And you may be thinking, well, how are you doing that? Because you just did a review not too long ago on that same cigar and you only had one in your shipment. So I was super excited. Recently, I got onto their website, pravadacigarclub.com, and I was just looking around and I noticed that it was a little bit different. And up top, there was this little, the top bar, and there was a shop button. So on the shop button, naturally being a shopper, I clicked on it. And they actually added a really cool feature to their website where you can, in addition to being a member, you can actually go on and you can order certain cigars that they may have a little bit of surplus, and it's only like while they have them. So it's not one of those things that, they're going to necessarily have them all the time in stock. And I just so happened to, I really enjoyed that cigar. So I said, well, I'm going to order a couple more. So I did that, and I was very excited to, again, be smoking that. And just, it's a neat feature because I know that that was one of the things that some of you guys have mentioned, like, oh, it's great, it's such a cool club, but like, I almost don't want to smoke that one because it's like I only have the one. So they must have heard that and, listened and said, hey, let's go ahead and add that feature. So really cool. Just thought I'd share that with those of you who, in case you don't get on the website often, definitely want to jump back on there and check that out. And if for any of you watching that have still not heard of Pravada Cigar Club or you're not really sure about it, let me just reiterate really quickly. It's a really cool club. I'm a member. They just have a lot of great cigars. So you get onto their website, you select, you answer a few questions that talk about your basic profile, tastes and likes and all that stuff. And they literally hand select cigars that are super rare, super aged, hard to find, sometimes not even available on the market, and they ship them to us every month. So again, all that said, I'm going to go ahead and just get right into my shipment. I'm excited to see what's in it this month, as always. And sadly, I'm going to put this down for a minute. Such a great cigar. Hopefully you guys have had the chance to try it. Hopefully it was in most of your shipments, all of your shipments. I'm not really sure how that works, but so I mentioned obviously about their cool little shop that they've added, but I'm hoping it's in this shipment, or I don't know if it's done separately or at the same time. But in addition to the online little shop that they've created, there's another really neat project that, Brian, being the super creative genius that he is, he came up with this awesome idea. And oh yes, it's in here. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure. So Back to the Future, I placed an order, and I'll get into that in a moment, but there's actually two little baggies in my shipment. Yay, I'm so excited. It's like Christmas time. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about the Back to the Future project. This is something that I clicked on it. I was like, well, what's the Back to the Future? Is this a different cigar that I hadn't heard of? What is this? Well, it's actually this idea of taking, let me see if he kind of explains it a little bit better. So it's basically like taking a great cigar that was done, in the past, and then trying to like recreate it. So a futuristic version of an older cigar. So it's a really neat concept. And again, I just love when people think out of the box and are very creative. And of course, I think like most of you would agree, I love getting cigars that other people can't necessarily get. So that's what this one is. This is one that, okay, so it was created by Paul Stulak, Red Screaming Sun. And Paul was gracious enough to make another exclusive cigar just for the club, and this is like a 2019 version of a 2014 release that they just so happened to be able to buy up like the remaining inventory out of, what does it say, Westside Humidor in Kansas. So they were able to get these older sticks from 2014, and then Paul Stulak was able to make, recreate a new version of that same cigar, and they're doing it like a pairing side by side. And I don't know, I just thought it was a really cool idea. So I added it to my shipment for my regular monthly cigar club. And I want to see what this looks like because I could only see it online. And I just thought it was such a cool idea. So again, I love the whole just the branding. I mean, that's a fun little concept. Who didn't like Back to the Future? You know, a lot of fun. Okay, so, and here we go. We have the Boveda pack as always. All right, so you can just tell by looking at this. I was like, whoa, which one's which? You can tell by looking at this, by the color of the cellophane, that this is the super aged one. So this is the one that was a 2014. Paul Stulac, and it's Regalo de Dios, so Gift of God. And cool branding on it. Love the band. This is I mean, hello, Lancero. These people know me. I feel like all these things are done for me specifically, but I won't flatter myself. I know there's a lot of other people that like Lanceros also, but I like to just, you know, make myself feel special. So this would be the newer version. And again, so side by side, you're taking an older cigar and then you're making like a newer version or a current version or a futuristic version, if you will. And this is something that you can add on like I did if you want. If you're, again, a fan of these really cool concept ideas, you can also do some cool posts with them. And I guarantee no one else out there, unless you're, you know, part of the club or you're, you know, shopping on that website, no one's going to have these. So really cool idea. I'm so excited to try these. I'll definitely be doing a review. I guess I would have to do them side by side. I don't know how I would do that yet. I'm going to have to get creative and figure out how I would try to do a review of both of these cigars here, but I just love the idea. So very excited to share that with you. I'm so glad it was in this package. I didn't know if it was going to come separate. It's always a surprise. I never know what I'm getting. So, you know, lots of fun. But definitely check it out, and you can, again, add on to your own shipment. Okay, so here we go. Let's get in. This is the regular shipment now that I'm getting into. And let's see what's in here. And of course, I always make mention to reading the write-up, because being somebody that reviews cigars and prepares for those reviews, and while I don't do formal write-ups, I do write notes and do some of that on the YouTube channel, on the website, but mostly in the video. And I can't tell you that, like, the time and effort that's put into creating, in this case, like a full-on almost newsletter format of the details of all these cigars is just really useful. And it just shows that, I mean, hey, like what a cool idea. Somebody that's putting that much thought and time into these, you know, these shipments that they're sending out that are available. I don't know anyone else who does that. So again, just a huge hats off to Privada Cigar Club, and especially to Brian for, you know, taking the time to do these write-ups. So I'm noticing I'm like getting totally sidetracked here. I'm like multitasking. Okay, great. These are very nice cigars. And this one is actually one of, so this would be the new one, I guess. So this would be the new 2019 version that's only available through Privada Cigar Club. So I'm excited. I love Lanceros. Okay, so let's read about this. So we have the Paul Stulac. I don't know if it's Stulac or Stulac. I'm probably butchering it. I'm so sorry if I am. This is the Screaming Sun, Privada Cigar Club exclusive 2019. Original release in the USA was 2014. This is a recreation of the original blend 2014, which I feel like I kind of spoiled that now, because I should have probably opened this first and then my little extra packet second, but it is what it is. Okay, so let me take you to Halifax, Canada. In your mind, travel up to Maine, then shoot across a stretch of water in the Atlantic to a Canadian peninsula. It's a medium-sized city right on the water with some pretty buildings and a vibe of a slower time mixed with some French-speaking radio stations. Now meet Paul Stulac. That's gonna bother me. Now meet Paul Stulac. Paul had been on the West Coast for school when he caught the cigar bug. He moved back to Halifax and started a cigar shop called Smoke on the Water. After years in the business, he decided to start his own cigar brand. After a few bumpy business deals, he traveled to Miami and met Guillermo Pena, a cigar manufacturer who has since moved to Nicaragua. They began making cigars together around 2012. One of these said cigars was a one-off Lancero called Red Screaming Sun for a store in Wichita, Kansas, called the Westside Humidor, which ironically we at PCC have ties to. Shortly after, we got it into the hands of Charlie Minato from Half Wheel, who rated it a 91. Huge deal. 5 years later, one of our members on Instagram, at Cigars and Games, wrote to me, and if I've heard of these Paul Stulak cigars, he loves them and can't find anyone who has them. Now I get tips often, but this piqued my interest. While I have not heard of Paul Stulak, why have I not heard of Paul Stulak? Are they good? Oh wow, they must be good to get a 91. A few Google searches and 3 calls to friends of Paul's. Hold on, I let this go out. Sadly, I need to relight it. Sorry guys. Okay. So a few Google searches and 3 calls to friends of Paul's who were on the phone together. We decided to start with the Red Screaming Sun. Now understand, Paul makes cigars, but he does it for passion. There is no leftover stock of these. They have to be newly made. Thanks to our buying power, because each and every one of you, we were able to have Paul Stulak make this very Lancero in the same blend, make this very Lancero in the same blend by the original manufacturer for Pravada. You are now holding the 2019 Paul Stulak Red Screaming Sun Lancero, aka Mr. Brown. Hey, did I mention no one else has this? Well, I think I've killed that point to all of you. No one else has this. It's one of those things that, yeah, it's just, I don't know how they do it. I mean, dang, that's awesome. I'm just happy to benefit from all the work that they're doing. So thank you very much. Tasting notes on this one. Manure on shaft, vegetal on foot. Cold draw is sweet, peppery, and bready. First puffs release a beautiful broadleaf baked bread notes with an excess of spice in the retrohale. There are dark breads like artisan wheat or ciabatta right out of the oven. There is a vegetal note and red pepper tingle on the finish. Cedar, honey, and cream dominate. At times, I want to say pine and another pungent note I cannot quite pin down. Deeper in, I still get a ton of bread notes, but there is a deep oak and now a citrus. At times, I taste an herb not unlike rosemary. The sun gets even creamier. The smoke gets even creamier and sweeter and reminds me of when I would eat thick Greek yogurt with honey drizzled in. Wow. Towards the end, the cigar becomes unbelievably creamy with notes of black tea, anise, orange rind, bread, and oak. At the very end, something about it reminds me of half and half, leather, oak, and vanilla. Fantastic. It makes me wonder how this would hold up against the original release. Pairing notes: Canadian whiskey, a good lager, champagne. For foods, I'd go with steak or lamb, pasta with olive oil and red pepper flakes. For sweets, I'd say cannoli or a red velvet cake. Wow. Well, I'm excited and I cannot wait to smoke this and smoke the original and then do that whole side-by-side comparison. Moving on to the Pier 28 cigars. I've actually smoked one of these. I had one, just a friend that, well, we'll get into that, but I have smoked one of these before and they are very tasty. And I want to say I only had the one, so glad to see that they're adding this in here. So Tim Wong, who's an awesome guy, by the way, very funny, in San Francisco, born and raised, he grew up 6 blocks away from the famous Pier 28. A self-proclaimed cigar nerd, Tim went to any cigar event he could find. One day he met the Toraño family and somehow was made to be their sales rep on the West Coast. Through the years, Tim has worked for a bunch of other reputable brands, learning and growing within the community. He even worked for Padilla, but declined to say anything bad about him. Tim is a very nice guy. Yes, he is. There came a point when he said to himself, I've worked the West Coast for everyone else. It's time I work for myself. The brand is new. The cigars cannot be found anywhere except the one online retailer that trolls our club and bashes us, but even they ran out of stock. Oh, wow. I didn't know that there was an online club that was doing that. That's not cool, man. Don't be a hater. So I called Tim and he told me that in the La Zona Sosa Miami warehouse, he had what we need. So here you go, holding in your hands, quite possibly my favorite daily smoker. Tasting notes: sweet hay on the body and a tea note on the foot. Once lit, I met with a blast of red pepper, salt, sweet yet dry smoke. I begin to get notes of nutmeg and floral essence, sweet smoke, charred oak barrel, toffee, and more floral notes. Further in, the cigar becomes creamier with notes of tea, sharp spice, leather, slight roasted peanuts, and charred oak. There is a terrific level of spice, floral sweetness, and wood baking for a nice balance of flavors, but be careful on the retrohale. In the end, I'm left with a creamy bourbon-like experience of vanilla, charred oak, spice, and cream. The cigar was sweet and floral most of the way. This is one of my favorite new cigars. So pairing notes, cognac or rum. Hey, I have both. Medium roast coffee, absolutely. Great after grilled fish, raw oysters, or sushi. Desserts like flan or anything with deep caramel will pair nicely. P.S. In Chinese, the number 8 brings success when you pair it with the number 2. It brings things with ease. Post and tag at Pure28 Cigars on Instagram to show time and love to his people. So I want to say I actually did a review of this, and I don't think at that time, I don't know that it was actually released, because I remember running into Tim at a cigar lounge, probably for an event, and he did one of those like out of the pocket, like, hey, try my cigar kind of a thing. And again, he is like a super cool dude, totally a cigar nerd, which we love and embrace, all cigar nerds, because those are the people that make the best sticks out there. So definitely a great cigar. From what I remember, it has been a while since I smoked it, so I'm very excited to revisit the cigar and smoke it again. Moving on, oh yes, Illusione. Can't go wrong there. So Illusione Ultra Op number 3, aged 3 years and 8 months in the Illusione War Chest. That's phenomenal. That actually makes the price of the membership like, it's totally, I don't know, it's a steal. Like I've said that on previous videos, it's a steal, $25.99 a month. And look what you're getting. It's like, these are not cigars that you could just run out and buy, especially something that has the aging of that long out of Illusione's War Chest. That's super cool. So let me read on about this one. This Nicaraguan Puro is an Aganorsa Farm Special. Sorry, guys. I'm going to spare you the details of the artwork on their 48 count boxes, as the brand Illusione is captivated by sorcery and black magic. 2 things I do not get down with. Sorry, I didn't even realize that. That is funny. Yeah, that's cool. That said, I'm pretty sure they aren't sacrificing animals and it's all pretty innocent. That's hilarious, Brian. This stick scored a 92 in Half Wheel back in 2016, and a different size scored a 94 in Cigar Aficionado, as well as the number 9 cigar of the year that same year. Let's be honest, the last cigar that Illusione got for us was one of the best all-around cigars I've had. Yes, absolutely. The 3-year aged Cruzado Elitas. I really have not ever had a bad Illusione. I can say the same thing. So when faced with the opportunity to buy enough of these for our members, aged perfectly at 70/70, I jumped in. I'm here hunting for the best of the best, and Illusione is one of the brands you cannot go wrong with. Hey, it's like we have like a little telepathy thing going on, because I pretty much said the same thing, and I agree. Illusione's fantastic. I've actually been out to the Aganorsa factory, and I have watched them at work, and it's quite the treat to just visit there and see everything on hand. It's just so cool. And again, it just makes it even better when you smoke the cigars, because you know like where they're coming from and the whole story. Not to mention that the farm and the Aganorsa tobacco is a whole nother story all in itself. I mean, they're huge. They grow incredible tobacco. And again, it's demonstrated in a brand like Illusione. So back to the tasting notes. On the body, I get a pungent earth note, and on the foot, more of the same, but with the addition of spice and wood. Once lit, there is a berry sweetness, a lot of cedar and toasty notes, along with a nut note I can't quite place. Each puff seems to deliver different notes of nuts, berries, pungent notes, and woods. Wow, this thing is amazing. In the second third, I get creamy puffs of herbs, cedar, fruits, and more nuts. There is a slight spice throughout, but it's not dominant. All things considered, this is one of the more dynamic smokes I've had in a long time. Pairing notes: smoke this with a sour beer, cognac, or maybe even a tequila. Yes. Fish tacos, anything with cilantro, and desserts like banana pudding or salted almonds. Thank you, Illusione, for sharing this with us. Please let our gratitude be known on Instagram. Tag at Illusion Cigars, at Pravada Cigar Club, hashtag We Are Pravada. Absolutely. So there's a special note from Brian. It says, family. This club, our community, has become more like a family in the last 12 months than any other word I can use to describe it. Your loyalty and faith in me is what is making this the best monthly selection of cigars out there. My ability to locate, negotiate, and facilitate these rare, exclusive, and just great all-around cigars are a product of your support. Your comments help us win each month. Your membership helps us get the best sticks in the game. Enjoy the ride and shout out for the club. I'll keep busting my hump day in and out to make it all work. What I'm saying is thank you. Thank you for all your support and comments. Thank you for how you treat the other members, and thank you for your time each month, Brian. Aw, he's so sweet. Again, I recommend this club. It's one of those things where not only am I a member, but it's one that I actually take the time to show you guys the box unveiling because I want to get the word spread that, hey, this is a really worthwhile club. There are some other clubs that are out there. I'm actually not a member of any of those other clubs. However, this is one that I do stand behind because, again, they're bringing out some really amazing products. They're getting their hands on these really cool cigars. And again, it's nice to have somebody in your corner and you're not really having to do the footwork other than, hey, throw up a post if you have an Instagram, support the club in that way. And again, it's very reasonable on the price, especially for what you're actually getting. So highly support it, highly recommend it if you've never received a shipment because you haven't signed up yet as a member, not really sure what you're waiting for. And now with that added bonus that you can actually purchase extra cigars if you wanted to, that are, again, while they have them in stock, I imagine, because since they are those cigars that are like, hard to find or very aged, they're not going to have an endless supply of those. So definitely do not wait. In my opinion, I was, sharing that I got this one, and I also ordered this Back to the Future set, which I'm so excited to smoke. So stay tuned because I'll definitely be doing a video on that. I'm not really sure of the format I'm going to use yet. However, going to do my best to try and make it like a side-by-side comparison just for fun. And as always, I'd love to hear your feedback. For those of you who are members of the club, I'd love to see the comments. Post your questions, post your thoughts, your feedback, all of those good things. And thanks so much for hanging out and watching me unveil my box and smoke some great cigars, guys. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Cheers.